What makes me laugh the most is my husband, but also my kids. My kids make me laugh a lot. I don't know what it's like to be a mom without cancer in my life. It's just our normal. My name is Jessica Blackford-Cleeton. I have peritoneal mesothelioma. I was diagnosed in 2015 at the age of 32, so pretty young for the disease in general.
My name is Brandon Cleeton, and my connection with mesothelioma is being a caregiver for my wife, doing whatever I could to get us through, to get us to the next day.
I found out about my meso diagnosis after quite a bit of testing. I was having stomach pains for about a year, some pretty severe pain, and it was kind of written off as more like a menstrual or a woman's kind of issue. And in fact, I'd say every woman that I've talked to, especially a young woman who has had peritoneal mesothelioma, was misdiagnosed, usually ovarian, menstrual pain, or just put off as you have a bug. It's frustrating. So it was about a year before I finally got the scans that I needed. It was extensive. It was all over my abdominal cavity, many hundreds, even into the thousands of tumors. Just a complete shock. And even then we didn't know what it was because they had never seen anything like it. After my mesothelioma diagnosis, everything changed. Never went back to work because of the extensive treatments that I've had. Just life in itself was completely flipped upside down. But it's something that, I live with every day and battle every day. And I'm just really lucky to even be here. You cannot have mesothelioma without asbestos exposure. Asbestos is deadly. It is a very horrible substance.
Companies that had knowingly exposed workers, consumers, just bystanders, and knowing the dangers of asbestos, knowing that made me feel just very angry that there was supporting evidence and data at the time. Protective equipment should have been used or worn. There should have been processes in place to wash after work and dispose of contaminated clothing. Very simple measures that could have been taken to avoid catastrophic, life-changing conditions down the road for somebody.
I was 32 when I was diagnosed. Most of the research is for people, usually older folks. So there was really nothing about me, about my future, about what it looks like if I wanted to have children, if I even had that option. We were newly married, wanted to have kids. We were just trying to preserve life at that point. Mesothelioma doesn't have a cure, and I know that, and we know that, but we desperately wanted that information. I contacted Simmons Hanly Conroy maybe about a month after I was diagnosed, and they were recommended to us as a good firm for asbestos. It's expensive being sick, and any help that you can have with, especially with this disease, there's very little experts. You're going to be traveling. You're going to be, using a lot of your monetary resources for that, and healthcare is expensive. So it definitely helps curb those expenses. Simmons Hanly Conroy was just easy to work with. They made everything simple. They worked around me and everything I was going through with treatment. It was just an easy process, but they were also quick. There was no point where I felt like I had to call them to see what was going on. I always kind of knew what step we were at, where we were going, what things were looking like.
Hiring Simmons Hanly Conroy was a good decision. There was a high level of personable care. I felt like all parties that we had spoke to at the firm really invested in our story.
If somebody asked me if it was worth the trouble to go through litigation for mesothelioma, I would tell them it is worth it. It's not an easy decision. I understand that because I know where they're at with their headspace at that time. They don't want another thing on their plate. But in the long run, it makes sense. This is a way for them to get justice.